Hey, welcome back to this next episode, and I brought my good friend Bianca Gracia. She is back. She's fierce. She's strong. She's a warrior. She's a friend of mine. And last episode, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but the last episode we kind of hit on a little bit about what's going on at the border. We're both fired up. We're both conservative Latinos, and we're both in the fight. And we are here today to discuss a lot of these things. So, Bianca, welcome back.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor. Thanks for having me back. And I know, you wanted to have a lot of questions about the border and talk about some truths and realities and things that are not necessarily covered in any mainstream media. People don't want to talk about they want to make it look like something else, an appearance of something else. But the realities behind all of that, there's always a curtain you have to pull back. The Lord calls it an unveiling, right? He says we're all veiled, and sometimes you've got to unveil people and let them see the truth.
Amen. So right now we have a massive crisis going on at the 15 million people have come across our borders. We don't know how many of those. Earlier today, we were kind of talking about if we had 15 million people come across, and 10% had bad intentions. That's 1.5 million people with bad intentions to destroy our freedoms, our liberties, our what we stand on.
Our communities.
To destroy it.
Yes.
1.5 million, that's a small army.
Well,
Or that's a large army.
It's a very large army. And we don't really know the true numbers because there's just not enough Border Patrol agents, not enough law enforcement to really know. There's so many. I mean, it's an open, porous border. Mm-hmm. And they could easily be distracting in one area, which is what they do. It's a massive operation, and it's all come down to now money.
So
billions of money. NGOs are making money. Our politicians are making money. And on both sides, guys, it's not a part, one way or another. This is become a money-making business. But no one crosses the border unless you pay the cartel now. So back in March of 2021, well, let me back it up. In January of 2021, President Trump at the time came to visit the border one last time, right? And so I went and covered it with media credentials. I got White House credentialed, and I went to cover it.
Of course you did.
No, I have media credentials. So I said, I'm going to go down there because this was one of the things he ran on. And he didn't run on it because he wanted to run on it. He didn't say, hey, I'm just going to go close the border and build a wall. He sat with law enforcement and Border Patrol agents at the get-go and said, what are the needs? They briefed him, and he said, well, then they found no support. No president had ever come out strong for the border like he did. But that was because that's what the Border Patrol agents told him. 70% of the Border Patrol agents are Latino. Okay, so our own people are trying to hold the fort, trying to do their job at the border, protect our national sovereignty. So he comes out with his plan. And so anyway, at the end of his term, so I go and I cover it. And it's a lot of Border Patrol, and a lot of their families and their kids, office people, not just Border Patrol agents, but the admin people in the office. And I watched, and these people had tears in their eyes. They knew, you could feel it. They knew that they were now going to lose a voice that was supportive of their job that they've been hired to do, the one that's created, right? This is their job. And they were going to lose an advocate for them. And you could see it, the pain. I'm talking about grown men with tears running down their eyes. And I don't mean like a outcry of a crying, but just tears. You could tell the intensity was felt. And I was watching and observing. And I thought to myself, they know what's coming. They know, right? And so, and we don't know because we don't have that job, but we don't know, but they knew.
Well, it's intense. I mean, they were worn out, and they're seeing it every day.
Yes.
Plus, they live in the community.
Yeah, they live in the community, exactly. So here's the thing, though, that was very eye-opening for me. Not one politician, none, no governor, no lieutenant governor, no senator, no house rep, no local, none, zero elected officials showed up to say, thank you for the job you've done. We got it from here. This is Texas. We'll stand up. We got it from here. We'll do our part, right? Nobody came to tell him, thank you for the job you did for in helping our border patrol. Nobody showed up. And I thought, this is odd. That they sure were around trying to get his endorsements and, trying to be part of his little circle when he was in office, and all of a sudden he's going to leave and you don't even show up. So I knew that was a problem. Of course, we know what happens. He leaves office, the border's wide open, and we have a flood of people coming through. Mm-hmm. By March, because I'd been in communication with some of the Border Patrol, and by March, I flat out called it an invasion. People were calling it a crisis. And I said, no, this is an invasion.
Right.
Literally, if you look at, when in history, when someone's invaded,
15 million people coming across the borders and invasions. I mean, it's
massive.
Yeah.
And so I called it that. And immediately from our own side, and I say our own side because of the side that, I politically congregate with. And they immediately attack. You can't say that. You don't have no authority. You can't say it's an invasion. And I'm like, the heck I can't. Where are you getting your numbers? I said, well, first of all, I'm a media person. I'm not about to divulge and give up my sources. Are you serious? There's no way. I would never give up my sources. And so, and I said, but, in due time. Now, what was happening is with the new administration, they were suppressing. They weren't putting in the numbers fast enough because they didn't really want people to know how many people were at come in. Mm-hmm. So by April, latter part of April and May, the numbers really start reflecting. And then everybody's like, oh my God, this is not sustainable. And so by August of 2021, Border Patrol Union, literally, I called them and I said, I'm fixing to go on a podcast. Is there anything that you want me to relate on your behalf? Because they had been gagged. They couldn't talk to the media. So I said, is there any information, a plea for help, any new stats, anything you need me to say on behalf? And they said, we have nothing to say. The border is completely taken and overrun, and the cartel is now in charge of all the Texas border.
When I went down there in 2021, I went down to Roma, Texas. I was down there in December of 2021. I got down there on a mission trip. Our whole mission was to be able to feed 3,000 law enforcement, DPS officers, Border Patrol agents, and the military personnel that was down there. Very, very few that was down there. And I got down there around 11 o'clock at night, and a pastor friend of mine, I was staying at his church, he says, all right, Pastor, he says, well, tomorrow we'll get up and get going and we'll get busy. I said, no. I want to go to the border. He goes, oh. And he said, when do you want to go to the border? And now I'll remind you, he's only about a block and a half from the actual border, mm-hmm. his church. And I said, now? He said, right now. I said, right now? He said, all right, Pastor, let's go. So we get into the vehicle, we go over to the border, and we just start watching. And we're standing on a lady's backyard. The backyard is the border. And, goes down to the ditch into the river and then up the other side. And I watched them come over on rafts. And the first wave of people that came, they looked like me, right? And the Border Patrol agents were there. They give them water. They're trying to get their names, where you from. And then there's a bus right there. And then they get up all in the bus, and the bus goes. Mm-hmm. And so when we're sitting there, I'm like, wow. It's like, and it was quite a few people, right? And then another bus pulled up, and I'm like, interesting. And then the next wave of people came. And then this wave of people were blacks. And they were all Haitian. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what in the world? And so I'm sitting out there, and same thing. I'm going up because it looks Black American, or we're trying to speak Spanish to them, thinking that maybe they're Cuban or something, right? But no, though. They were Haitian. And how do I know that? I've been to Haiti 5 times. I know very little bit about French and Creole, but I know enough to communicate small sentences. And so I was like, man, these people are from Haiti. And then they leave. And then the next wave came. Chinese, Pakistanians, Iranians. I was like, what in the world? And so it dawned on me, this thing is very organized.
It's very organized.
For you to be able to send the first wave, well, consider first wave when I got there, they were Spanish speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Second wave, Haitians. Third wave, mixed. Almost as if they were sending them by continents or broke down by regions, which means somebody really thought about this logistically as a business, making billions of dollars
lots of money.
and running it. And even on the other side of Roma is Miguel Limon, which is a major cartel war. They're always at war. You stay over there every night when I take you. Day, night. I tell we go up on the top of a ridge and I just tell people, listen, and you'll just see it, and you sometimes you'll see the bullets going, you know? And the people are like, man, all right, let's go. And one of those bullets come across, you know?
Yeah.
But there's a massive movement of human trafficking that is the largest that we've ever seen on Earth. That is coming through our...
No one really wants to talk about. Everybody,
no one.
No, but everybody just focuses on because they've gotten this illegal immigration problem down to a propaganda that it's just poor people trying to come to work. That's always been the narrative that they run, and they're sticking to the narrative, but nobody wants to talk about this organized operation. So if there's three gentlemen that have been covering this stuff, independent journalists, that have been covering this for a very long time, even during Trump's administration. Ben Berkwam, Anthony Aguero, and Oscar Blue. Now, Oscar Blue stays on the Mexico side, right? So they feed each other information, and they film everything. They've been covering this stuff. And what they found was that our own NGOs or nonprofit organizations get grants, millions of dollars, not 5,000, millions of dollars. These NGOs were going and setting up shop in the other countries, and they literally bring the illegals to them, and they bring them in there, and they pretty much give them a script, tell them exactly where to go.
What?
Oh, yeah. They tell them exactly where to go, who to ask for, once they cross, what to do. Everything was organized.
Wow.
Everything. So our own NGOs, so this is a $1 billion, operation here.
Oh, yeah.
With our own involved in the aiding and abetting.
Wow.
Of this illegal invasion, illegal immigration, human trafficking, child trafficking. All of this is a huge operation. Now, during Trump's administration, sitting down with Border Patrol, at the time they said, look, 70% of the people coming across were, what do they call them? Other country, rights from another country other than Mexico. Because everybody wants to blame
It's all Mexicans, right?
Oh, it's just
all Mexicans.
No, it was 130 other countries.
Wow.
Coming across. Recently, the new updated number is 230 countries that they now know have come across.
That's scary to think about.
A huge proportion of these people that are coming across illegally are military-aged men, okay? So, no, they're not poor and just want to come to work here. There is an operation in play. We've been told that the Mexican cartel of all kinds are working with the Chinese Communist Party, okay? Chinese Communist Party is bringing in fentanyl, and they're using the cartels to make sure it gets across. You see that fentanyl now is killing a lot of our children. They're being, given at our schools. The children go, oh, you need something to sleep with. They don't even know what it is. Kid never wakes up.
Right. We
have a ton of this happening. So there is so many layers and layers. We have a congressman with an R behind his back, Tony Gonzalez, out at CD23, he has the largest region along the border, part of El Paso and all the way down to Del Rio, San Antonio, and it's a big area. you know those buses that you saw continuously picking up the illegals? So when he went back into office, he signed, it was a multi-million, if not billion-dollar bill. It's a bill that pretty much funneled the money to this bus company. Okay. Then an independent journalist by the name of Frank Lopez goes and finds out, because he's like trying to figure out, he's like, who is this bus company? They find out the bus company. They track down the bus company. I think it's somewhere outside in the part of San Antonio, or in the peak of San Antonio, somewhere in San Antonio. They find out that in the compound of the bus company, they have a big compound. They got all this money, multi-millions of dollars, to continue to just do the buses, right? So our own elected officials are aiding and abetting in this whole operation, giving money to these people. Well, what they find out is that Tony Gonzalez's federal office is in the compound.
What?
That's a conflict of interest. Yes.
You think?
His federal office is inside the compound of the bus business.
Wow.
So I don't know how much more corrupt and dirty you can be. People have called him out, and now he just ignores them. He's raised a lot of money. Listen, this money is not coming from the people in his district, I can assure you that. This money is coming from big corporations and all those that are benefiting from this whole thing. We have home builders. I call this out all the time, not very popular, but David Weekley. David Weekley wants an open border. These builders want an open border. Why? Because they can now get cheap labor, okay? We've had illegals in our country that have been here 20, 30 years. They've gotten smarter. They don't do the job for $5 an hour anymore. They now, make more than that. So they've assimilated somehow into America and, and become more business savvy. And so here we need a new batch of illegals that are desperate and will work for the $5 an hour. That is, I'm pretty sure, human slavery, basically. Mm-hmm. So what I keep telling people is, when the Latinos, because the Latinos are the ones that are always like, they're the ones always fighting this illegal immigration thing, right? Oh, but our poor people, and they're just hungry, they just want to work, and da-da-da. No.
But we need to stand up.
You need to stop with the rhetoric and that messaging, because that's not what's happening. We have women and children who are getting raped here multiple times. I'm going to talk about 1 or 2 times. I'm talking about Border Patrol is finding 18 specimens in a 12-year-old, 11-year-old child being raped over and over and over. We have literally, Anthony Aguero literally interviewed a female with 3 little kids coming across the border. She didn't want to talk at first, and he just said, I just want to ask you what was the toughest thing to get here. Her story, her testimony, the toughest thing to get here was every night she separated from the caravan, found a place, she laid her 3 children together, back to back, and she laid over them to protect them. And she said every night she heard the screaming of the little girls. That was the most difficult thing that she experienced to get here. Not the walk, not my feet hurt, not I was thirsty, I was hungry, but the screaming of the little girls that were getting raped at night. That is a reality of an open border, of a illegal invasion of Texas, Arizona, California. I don't care where it is, anywhere that they're crossing, this is happening.
Yep.
And so our women and children are being sold into slavery. Men are being sold into slavery.
Little boys.
Doesn't matter. It's everybody. They're sold it. No one, the Border Patrol will tell you, no one crosses the border without going through the cartel. You don't come across.
No, when I witnessed it, they weren't coming across like the border. Me and you go visit, we cross a border bridge.
Border bridge.
They're not coming across a border bridge.
Yeah,
they're coming off. And you know what? I would watch. They would have these rafts, and on these rafts, they're probably like a 6-8 man raft max. They'd have 20, 30 people on these rafts, and they would push them over, and they would tell them go up there. Now, what I didn't understand is we had National Guards that were on that bank, right? And they would just watch.
They were instructed not to
Do anything.
engage.
And
they
it
were
was nothing.
instructed by Governor Abbott to not engage. Our own DPS, they took away their actual bullets and gave them rubber bullets.
I don't understand that process, right? I don't understand why, if our Texas National Guard is being sent down there for the border, I don't know what their orders are. I mean, I've been out of the military a long time, and I was in the regular Army. But to be able to stand for our borders and protect our borders, I mean, this is...
Which you're not protecting the border, you're just
you're just watching, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the whole story behind it.
Well, look at anybody...
But what I know is wrong.
But it's wrong. But look at the bank accounts of these elected officials and look where their money... Always follow the money and find out where their money's coming from. And you'll know exactly who's paying him so he can keep those borders open.
So if we send, let's say, okay, what I witnessed, okay, I'm not going to talk about any other things, what I personally witnessed. So we watch these rafts come over, right? And let's say 30 come up, and they rope this raft back. And then we fill this raft up again. Then they send another. So that section where I was at, they were coming up, they came out, okay, you know, ¿cómo te llamas? You know, what's your name? And they're getting their name, and then how many you with? And then they send the other people, the other wave. So Border Patrol's focused on this. The National Guard's focused on these people coming across the border. Homeland Security is pulling up with the buses and stuff. But yet down the way, they have this drug trade that's coming through, right?
Exactly.
So we'll send these people, we'll keep them busy here.
And the Border Patrol will tell you that. That is the operation.
And now we have a ton of influx of fentanyl.
Yep.
You know, right here down the street, there's the funeral home on Scarsdale Beamer. And I was speaking with them. Last month, they had the highest number of overdoses of fentanyl that they've ever seen out of their funeral home. 18 people have died at one funeral home. Now, they do a lot of different funeral homes. It's a good-sized funeral home.
But
18
just fentanyl.
Well, think about it. We have 30 days in a month.
Yeah.
More than half of the people that they're seeing is from fentanyl overdoses. Now, that's just one. Now, think about, you know, how many funeral homes are in the city of Houston or in Texas. We have a high rate of heroin, fentanyl, pills. There was a kid that drug overdose not that long ago. I think in May. It was right before school got out. But Xanaxes are real big, right? They've been big since I was young. They used to be called handlebars in the streets, and everybody wanted to get barred out is what it was. But now they're fake. They're fake handlebars, fake.
That's what I've been seeing in the pictures from like the law enforcement that the Xanax it looks just like a Xanax.
Right, and they're buying them.
Pills,
and they're fentanyl pills.
And they're fentanyl pills.
And the thing is that the drug trade with the human trafficking trade, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's a human trafficking trade. It's not open borders.
Yeah.
It is human trafficking at the highest tier ever in U.S. history, or I say world history.
Right. Well, I've been speaking about this, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to tell you this while it's on my mind. I've been speaking about this for so many years, and I have this, lady who's been here legally for, 20-something years, right? And I've been telling her, I tell her all this stuff, and so she, they kind of don't believe you, they do, but they don't. They're like, they think you're kind of crazy because you're like, children in containers. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, she actually came across her child met a kid in school, little kid, 11 years old, and had a sister of 13 years old. And, the son says, I want to go to the birthday party of my friend. And she's like, well, I don't even know what this friend is. So she goes to the birthday party. She conversates with these kids, finds out that their family had to go down. They were stuck in a container for 3 months and transferred over. So you tell me how that's okay to keep the borders open, to keep kids in a container for 3 months and transfer them, around.
Well, let's look at
luckily
the Obama cages. Or what they're calling the Trump cages. The Obama cages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They put them. When I get the containers, you're saying that they all around the world.
Yeah, these are closed containers.
Closed container.
These are not like
the cage is the Obama bill.
No, these are closed containers in the heat. And these kids, they were put through this. So this is an ongoing everyday thing. This is not like, hey, we're going to run an operation on this day of the month, it's not that kind of, it's an everyday thing.
It's a slave trade.
Yes, it's slave trade. This is the one thing, Pastor, that people don't know. So they don't know. You talk about all these unaccompanied minors. Where are they at? What are they doing with them?
Right.
Where are they ending up? Unaccompanied minors, period, don't get fingerprinted at the border. So you can't track them. Can't find them. You don't know who they are. So they've told us about 85,000 unaccompanied minors gone missing in the system. They don't know where they're at.
Wow.
But that's just a number they're giving us. I don't think it's 85,000. I think it's way more than that.
It's funny how they come up with these numbers. 85,000. I mean, that's pretty exact.
Yeah.
Can't be 85,673, right?
Correct.
It has to be 80.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way I don't believe that.
We're going to do an estimate. Let's just do
This is an estimate, but I believe there's more than that. And so there was a situation here in Houston where the missing person sergeant here said, why am I getting these calls of service in the same little triangle of a place? Well, they ended up finding out that there was sponsors. There was an apartment complex that were bought and dedicated just for these operations. So they're sponsors, and they bring these unaccompanied minors, and a sponsor takes them in, and guess what the sponsor gets? Food stamps. They get all these benefits, welfare benefits, right? So they, in their paperwork, technically don't have to report the kid missing for 30 days. So they just keep bringing in kids, taking kids, bringing in kids, taking kids from their locations. So it gets, they break this, right? And the other side, the liberals, are trying to hide this, that it's even occurring, right? Oh my God, we have all these unaccompanied minors, nobody knows where they're at. So they all of a sudden we found them, we recovered 50 of the 80. Okay. How do you know? How do you know?
They were never fingerprinted.
They're never fingerprinted.
They were never.
How do you know? There's no record of them. How do you know that this was them?
Right.
No, what you did is bring in more unaccompanied minors and just say, oh, here they are.
Right.
And that's what you did. And so you think we're dumb to this, and we're not. We know that these kids are being sexually exploited, sold into, God knows what. If you haven't seen the movie Sound of Freedom, it pretty much tells you what an actual agent went through to go rescue these kids. And they tell you about the brother and the sister, but they don't tell you about the other people they rescued during that mission as well. Mm-hmm. So this is a reality, what's going on. This is why an open border is really bad. This is why illegal immigration is bad. I have this thing where people, they want to change the verbiage. Oh, it's not illegal. You can't call them that. That's too horrible. You have to call them, undocumented, or you have to call them, migrants. They like to change the vocabularies. Okay, well, let's not call abortion. Why don't we call it murder? So every time that you Democrats push this whole, but it's healthcare. Okay, to murder?
Right.
Okay, so don't call it abortion. Let's call it murder. Let's call you a murderer. You're not going to like that either. So according to the Constitution and case law, they're illegals. You don't get to change the vocabulary because you want to pretty it up, right, or make it less offensive.
Or water it down.
You have to call it out for what it is. When Jesus walked on this earth, why do you think he was hated so much? Because he kept calling out truth. He was calling out people, right? And telling truths. And of course, the masses of the people were being unveiled to truth. And of course, the Pharisees, the Romans, the empire, right? They were they didn't want those dirty secrets told.
Right.
But it wasn't popular, but he had to tell the truth. No matter how ugly it was, you're gonna get told the truth. And then he met it with what his Father, God, intended and wanted you to do and give you the law, right? And so this is kind of the same thing. It's you have to call out the truth for what it is, because this is evil at the highest level. And who cries out? That's one thing that gets me annoyed, pastors, when people say, well, Bianca, you're just so not compassionate. Really? Well, why are you want to call me not compassionate? I don't see you crying out for the women and children being raped on the way here 18 times, multiple times.
Right.
Where's your outcry on that?
Right.
Oh, but you still want to keep on to the same rhetoric that you've been using for 50 years of they're just here to work. Listen, Cesar Chavez and the big movement was against illegal immigration. They'd hijacked his movement and now want to sell it as a social justice warrior kind of movement. It's not. He was against illegal immigration. Why? Because of the fact that he said, you come here illegally, you're putting yourself at risk of being labored for less than what you're worth.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want our people to get used.
Right.
Get smart.
Get smart.
Come here legally because we don't want you to get used.
There's a
We don't
right way
want
to do
you-
things.
Yes, we don't want you to go hide under a rock and live illegally forever so that people can continue to benefit off of you.
Push you down.
And I'm like, what mindset are we living in to believe that this is okay?
Here, I know there's a lot of people coming over here to have a better life. I get that. My family, my in-laws, I mean, they're all immigrants, right? From my mother and father-in-law, my wife's cousins, and I mean, all of them, aunts, uncles, they're all immigrants. And they've all done great. They've all been entrepreneurs. A lot of them got education, all the way up to master's degrees, and they've done very well. And I get it. There's a lot of people that come over to do that. But we're specifically saying there's in these caravans, there's people with the wrong intentions.
Yes.
Then we're not just talking like 5 or 6 people. We're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands,
Yes.
not even hundreds of thousands of people that want to destroy our country, that want to be able to destroy our communities, that want to be able to go to war against us. Let's just be real and honest.
Yes.
They want to infiltrate our communities and attack us. That's just the truth. And on top of that, like what you said, they've raped women, children, and I'm talking not just girls. I'm talking about men and boys that have been raped, right?
Correct.
I've worked in this space for years, and it was shocking for me to find out how many boys are exploited through all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's not just women and children and little girls.
But it's a lot of women and little girls that we're not going to neglect. I mean, we're not going to say it's not happening to the boys because it is.
It is. Correct.
And then these children come across, and like you said, they're unaccompanied. And they're going to these Obama cages, and they have no parents. They have no sponsors. They don't have anything, which is just, number one, wrong. One of the things that
We're setting them up for failure already.
100%. All these people come over, 15 million, and let's just say they all have the right intentions, which we know is not. But they come over and they're going to go to work in the workforce. Do they pay taxes? No. Well, who has to pick up the bill for them to go to housing or to go to school or to be able to be on health care or to receive their Obama phone? Right? We're paying all of that.
Yeah.
15 million people that we're going to have to fork the bill for. Second thing of that, let's just talk about what's going on in our own community.
Well,
Right now, we have the Hondurans and the Mexicans going to war with each other.
Yes.
They brought their own conflict into our community, and they're fighting and having a war in our own backyard.
Yeah.
For turf. Yeah. Because you want to be Honduran or you want to be Mexican? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This is America.
Yeah.
Like, we as Latinos, we try to unite and come together. But yeah, you're coming over here and starting turf wars in our own backyard.
Well, let's talk about the hypocrisy. Mayorkas was being questioned last week by the Judicial Committee on Capitol Hill, and he claims that 50% that the crossings are 50% down. I don't know what world he's living in,
But
yeah. And so he flat out lied over and over to Congress, and he said, we don't have a border crisis, and the border is not open, it's secure. Well, we know it is not secure.
Right.
Okay? And so he just flat out lied. So Jason Jones, I was watching on Newsmax, he said, and Jason Jones is a retired 30-year captain at the DPS, and his sole purpose is only cartels. That's all he's ever really, that's his, like what his expertise is in, right? Is to follow cartels, the evolution of cartels. So he's really good about this. But he says, Mayorkas literally just signed something and gave $300 million to house these, they call them migrants, illegals. $300 million went to house these people now. So hold on a second. $300 million is a lot of money. I'm sorry, but you said we don't have a problem and the border's secure and there's 50% less people coming across. Why do you need $300 million for?
$100 million.
300 million, not 300,000, 300 million. If you don't have a problem in an invasion, why are you using 300 million to now house these people? New York is now, they don't even want the illegals. I've heard...
Well, all these Democratic ran cities don't want the illegal.
Well, at first they did.
Oh, yeah, they want to welcome them.
They weren't saying anything. But now what I'm hearing is from insiders, in New York, just yesterday I had a phone call because they were covering the Roosevelt Hotel. It's completely full. They said the Roosevelt Hotel is probably one of the largest hotels, very nice hotel in New York, all filled. And now they have all the illegals literally outside like homeless. Wow. So they don't have money to feed them. They don't have money to house them anymore. And so the Democrats there who were pretending that this was not a problem now they don't have money. They don't have money in New York. So they've been trying to communicate with the White House. And I heard from some elected officials, people that work with the elected officials, that the White House has stopped communicating with them.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Correct. So they created the problem.
You can't even contact your people on your own team.
Can't contact your people on your own team.
They turn back.
Turn your back. Yep. They backstab to turn your back.
Wow. I didn't see that coming from that side.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. But guess who suffers? The people who were sold a bunch of lies that they were going to have this better life. Now they're homeless. They have no food. They have no jobs. Look, New York has been under decline because so many people have fled New York because it's run by horrible policies and laws that the Democrats have put into place. You recently had Sheila Jackson, who's running for mayor here, the law enforcement agents in Texas, and I don't know from Arizona, but law enforcement for Texas, went to testify at Congress last week, and Sheila Jackson flat out called them liars. And she wants an open investigation because these law enforcement agents were lying. Basically, she called them liars and said there was no problem at the border. And there's no, this stuff wasn't happening.
Oh, but she ain't made a trip down to our border. And she's not sitting there walking amongst our people either.
No, exactly.
Clueless.
No, but she's running for mayor.
You know what? She's been in 28 years. And look at her community that she supposedly represents. Has it become better in 28 years? No.
The infrastructure is horrible. There isn't a whole lot of growth in her community. It's now 70% Hispanic.
Yeah, it flipped.
How she continues.
No wonder why she wants to run for mayor. She wanted to get out now.
Well, I know, but how in the world does she keep getting, elected? It was always my question. Well, yeah.
Well,
we had
that. A whole nother conversation.
We had that conversation before on election integrity, but here we are. She grandstands, in Congress. She wants to now come run the city of Houston, who is the number one hub for human trafficking. You can't even admit that there is human trafficking going on with an open border because you don't even want people to know there's an open border. And you flat out called our law enforcement agents who have 30 plus years of experience, who have been embedded down there every day covering the border, sometimes 22 to 30 days at a time. They go home and rest and go back and try to out law enforcement. And you're going to call them liars?
That's right. It's horrible.
Are you wearing a badge and are you down there protecting the border? No. You're over there, probably richer than most people in your district.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely richer than most.
I mean,
probably everything.
She doesn't even live in her own district. So I'm like, really? But yet you represent your district. How do you represent your district when you don't even live in the district and you don't walk among?
Her district was predominantly black community. And she made about $200,000 a year for 28 years. Y'all do the math.
And not
And the community didn't thrive at all.
no, but not to mention, not what she made, it's what she's been paid to be in Congress. All her PACs, all the money that's been
I'm just
donated,
talking about her salary. I'm not talking about all the other extras.
contracts, all kickbacks, all she's gotten. Listen, it's a money making business. This is a dirty, ugly money making business, and at the end, people suffer.
People are suffering.
At the end,
Our communities are suffering.
the poor people do suffer because you took advantage of them. You sold them a bag of
Hopium.
yeah, opium. You sold them a bag of fentanyl. You made them carry the bag of fentanyl across, and now you left them to fend for themselves. And this is the disastrous policies of when Democrats are in office. And I've had this conversation over and over with people of the other side. And I'm like, first of all, you need to stop the rhetoric of, the poor illegal immigration and, we need to give amnesty and citizenship. I, myself, am not going to ever advocate for that because of the things that I've seen with the realities of an open border and the illegal immigration, what it's brought in and what they're doing. Now, mind you.
Does Mexico have open borders?
No.
No, they don't, do they? Why?
No, but they do come in from a port very organized, Tamaulipas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who's getting paid?
Well, exactly.
But they don't have open border.
But they don't have an open border. No, they don't. They don't have an open border. But get this, Pat. So 2 things I heard yesterday. This is fresh. There is a whistleblower. Well, we call him a whistleblower, but somebody's come forward. People that work in the airport. They're now starting to report the unaccompanied minors. So these NGOs are bringing this unaccompanied minors, and they have to wait in the airport 24, 48 hours for their next flight or wherever they're going to send them, their next instructions, where they're going. These unaccompanied minors have now gone to the airport workers and are begging for food and water because they haven't eaten.
Oh.
So then in the middle of the night when no one's paying attention, they do board them and they're taking them out wherever they're taking them to. Where exactly are they sending all these unaccompanied minors to? Where are they putting them?
Rural areas. Do you see what's going on in Cleveland, Texas?
Yeah, true.
Horrible.
Horrible.
They had like 15 or 2,000 students in their ISD. Now they're they had up to 2,000 students in the whole entire ISD. Think about this. This year they're expecting 20,000 enrollments. They're taking them to rural areas.
So that broke that's been in the works though, because in 2018 somebody from Washington D.C. came and asked me. I knew this was going on in this community, and I said we've kind of know, but it wasn't this big. Now there's community. There's a community. It's a builder. He's built 8,000 homes, and he's put all these illegals in it. They've given them loans, told them to work, whatever. I get that. Okay, I get that. However, there's something more going on there. He's not just a philanthropist. He actually has people working for him that go to the border and bring these people over, okay, to this community, specifically to this community. This builder, when they pulled up the financial records of Governor Abbott, he's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to Governor Abbott. Why? Why are you giving money to Governor Abbott? And you're building a community of illegals? Like this, there's something up with this. It's not a philanthropist's job. There's something more to this. And so there's so many ugly things happening. So the story hasn't been broken yet, obviously, because I just got like a tip, right? That this was happening in the airports, these kids being left for hours without food and water. And so where's the outrage? Do you see AOC at the airports going, oh my God? No. Where's the outrage from our, people on the other side, and that they claim they care so much about these people? Where's your outrage?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you as an elected official not waiting and seeing and following these buses and figuring out where are you taking these children? Why is it that we're not investigating all the NGO organizations that have benefited multi-million dollars from the grant money from our taxes? Why are they not being investigated to make sure that there is a success rate within their organization? Following the path. What have you used your money for? What have you trained these people for? How many have you put people back into society where they're actually, contributing? What is happening? Where are these children going? Where are you placing them? We have no idea. And then they're not fingerprinted. So that was one thing I heard. So we've got the New York thing. We've got the children in unaccompanied minor crisis. We've got, I think I might have, I haven't talked about this, but the Black community is now in Chicago and Georgia rising up and speaking about the illegals. They're like, we don't want the illegals here. So now the Blacks are going to start, coming against, the illegals. And who do you think, when they say illegals, they don't go after the Muslims.
Right.
They don't go after the Russians.
They're going after Latinos.
They go after Latinos.
Right.
We're supposedly the only people that...
We're the only ones that come across.
We're the only ones that come across. Not the Chinese.
Right.
Not the Middle Eastern. It's none of them people. It's always just Latinos that come across. And so it's so hypocritical. People do not even understand what we're really dealing with. They don't... First of all, we have a horrific mainstream media that isn't putting the truth out. It's all just propaganda, whatever the woke corporations and the politicians tell them to put out. That's what they put out. It's just a money-making machine as well. So we're not getting the reality and the truth of what's really happening. And at the end, people suffer, women suffer, children are suffering.
Right.
Real children are suffering.
Every day.
And nobody is really talking about it and addressing these issues or really truly coming up with some solutions. And I say to people that, that have this rhetoric, they're just poor people trying to... No. Until you start talking about securing the border and building the wall, then you're not going to know. This was another tidbit that I just got. Some elected officials from Tamaulipas came in to visit in the valley, in the Rio Grande Valley. They had to sit down. They were here to not discuss the illegal immigration. They were here for some other business. But the conversation opened up about the illegal problem. The Tamaulipas elected officials, mind you, did not know,
and who are the Tamaulipas?
The Mexican.
The Mexican?
Yeah. Okay. Tamaulipas, Mexico.
So we can let them...
Yeah. Tamaulipas, if you're Latino, you got to know. I mean, especially, if you're from Mexico. The Tamaulipas, Mexico. So these elected officials did not really know what was really going on, right? They were like, what do you mean the open border? What are you talking about? They weren't paying attention to our politics. They don't know what's going on. But what they did know is that China is buying land up and down their border. Mm-hmm. Why is China now buying land up and down the Mexican side of the border? And they're buying land, we know, on our side of the border. Mm-hmm. We know that. What exactly are they preparing to do? Because I think the Chinese want to invade and they want to take over the United States. Mm-hmm. And we have a president right now that nobody wants. They keep hiding it with all these Trump indictments. But every time they expose the Biden corrupt family...
Cartel.
Yep. For taking in, $10 million from... Not Ukraine, but Ukraine. It was in Ukraine, Russia, which was Ukraine. That whole mess. They've taken money from the Communist Party of China. They set up, what did they say, 70 now? They have found 70 shell companies in the Biden names, and they were funneling money through all these companies, and they found all these offshore accounts with their money. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So Biden has been selling access to the United States of America since he was vice president under Obama. Mm-hmm. And they don't want people to know this. So now we're finding out from Tamaulipas elected officials that Chinese are buying land on their side of the border. Mm-hmm. Wow. What exactly is really going on here?
Man, major, large military operation.
Huge. And we are so divided on this messaging within the Latino community of the poor people. They're just, they just want to work, and they're on the street. Well, they shouldn't have come here.
Right.
Because they're set up for failure yet again.
Right.
And so I do believe that there does need to be some type of immigration reform, though. There has to be. Most people, the ones that do really want to come here and work, the real ones that are just looking to come work, picking, whatever it is, right? Whatever they do. Most people, they don't care about coming and being a citizen here. They just want to come work. They want to come work for the season, go back to their country, take money back to their country, feed their families, come back and work. They don't care about becoming citizens. Why haven't we made it easy for these people to go to the embassies in Mexico, or in other countries, right? Go to the embassies. They get vetted at the embassies and get some kind of streamlined process to say they're going to go work, okay? And then we just get tougher on no more overstaying your worker permit. You got to come back and check in. And we're going to continue to let you go and come. But you got to continue to come and check in.
Right.
You can't just be like, oh, I forgot, I'm just going to now live here. That's fine if you want to do that process, but you're going to have to go back and follow a new process, right?
Right.
Because now you say, okay, well, you know what? I've been traveling back and forth already seasonal, but now I've been doing it for 10 years. And I bought a house, I bought a car, and I have kids now, and they're going to school, and I don't want to pick them up and keep going back. We get that. There's a whole other process for that. We need to come up with a very comprehensive, straight up, it does not take, listen, these problems we've had can be solved very easily. But we refuse to. Why? Because our elected officials are making money.
No.
It's an industry. It's an industry. Lawyers have been making money off of illegals for how long now? Oh, I need another $300 because I need to send another letter. They've been in the process of trying to get papers for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
These lawyers have literally been just draining these illegals for more money. Well, they need another paper. It's going to cost you, whatever. It's a money-making business. That's why nobody wants to come up with a comprehensive solution base to get this all done, right? It's like, you want to come to our country, you have to do this. I can tell you that there's no way you and you've traveled overseas, there's no way you and I can go into another country, first of all, undocumented. They'll throw our butts in jail really quick. We don't get no rights and freedoms. We've now broken their laws. Mexico probably has the strongest illegal immigration policy. If you go into their country illegally, they have tougher laws than we do. You don't get these little freebie benefits and, we're going to go give you some money.
Right.
And that's if the government gets to you. Yeah. Before the cartel gets across the border now without permission. So listen, you know that there is a process for every country you visit to come and go.
To every country on this planet.
And if they find you there and you've overstayed your little trip, it ain't gonna be pretty for you. So this is the problem. Why is it that we can't come up with a comprehensive illegal immigration reform that streamlines people to come here, vets people appropriately, that you don't have to wait, 6 years to get permission to come here to work,
right.
That it's a streamlined program. Come and go. We got one ABC here. You're trying to go to work? Okay, great. A. Oh, you have family over there and you might possibly want to stay longer, so maybe it works a little bit for you. And then those people that have been here, the 20, 30 years, maybe at that point, if they once say, you know what, we're ready to relinquish, we ain't going back to our country ever again. We're ready to become citizens. We just love this country so much. We've been paying taxes. We build a life here. Our children all have lives here.
Right. That's
a different process for them.
Right.
But to hand out this amnesty and citizenship right off the bat, you've been illegal. Sure, here you go. You're now a U.S. citizen. That is preposterous. We can't do that. We cannot do that anymore.
Nope.
We have to stop we have to, plug in all of these things where they're bleeding and they're bleeding tremendously. And at the end of the day, the new open border, the illegal invasion is equal to human slavery. It's slavery.
It is. What time is it? An hour? Okay, we're good. Hey, well, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to I Fight With You Fear with Richard Vega. As you know, Bianca's always been a friend to us. Go follow her on all her social media outlets and everything that she's got going on. Just tell us, what do you got going on right now?
Well, they can go follow me at Bianca for Texas on any platform, and then I also have been putting out some op-eds. People have asked me, "Well, you always talk about all these problems. What would you do about it?" And I've been trying to write op-eds to help people and say, "This is what I would do. This is what I would do." And so they can follow me there. We're actually right now we're planning a cleanup at the border. We're gonna go clean up where all this mess has been left behind. And so we're planning that in September. And do, a big community service project. It is community service. We're wondering where all the environmentalists are at. From the left, they always claim they care about the environment. So we're going to go and do this project probably somewhere in the Rio Grande Valley, probably in the Brownsville area. I believe it's actually in the Brownsville area. And anyway, this businessman raises money and then he gives a big, nice check over to the law enforcement so they can go buy whatever equipment they have.
Awesome.
So that's what we've got going right now. Amongst other things, my hands are always in the cookie jar. I've really been resting, but I've been doing little things here and there, and so I'm getting ready to go back on the Reawaken tour this month. So just gearing up to do what I can. I've been in my community, recruited 5 precinct chairs, registered 3 new voters, and got 2 new VDRs that are going to help me register voters. And so we're just, the little things that I can contribute to is what I'm doing right now. So
awesome. Well, make sure you go and follow her, get connected, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching the show. Like, comment, share, get the message out so more people can be aware of actually what's going on. God bless you.